The format on my page is representing the edge of your page in your sketchbook. So this is going to go on page 11. Get out your drawing pencil and your clear ruler. We're going to turn it landscape, and we're going to put a horizon line kind of across the middle, a little bit lower than the middle, yeah, or right around the middle is fine. Okay. Goodness. Light horizon line, and we're gonna put 2 vanishing points on this horizon line. So this is a little bit different. Yeah, landscape, bro. I mean, you can do it in portrait, but you'll have less room to make the buildings. So we're gonna be doing something like this, okay? But we're also gonna do some stuff so that it's also below the horizon line. So this is working above and below the horizon line. We're gonna be doing some things that are strictly below and then some things that are strictly above, okay? So the most important thing is pretty much, we're gonna put our vanishing points, because I want you guys to work on your page. We're gonna put our vanishing points pretty much near the edge of your paper, okay? See how there's 2 vanishing points now, 2 little dots on the horizon line. So do that right now, please. Make sure you have an eraser. I think I gave everybody an eraser. If for whatever reason you need another eraser, please let me know and I'll make sure you guys get one, okay? We're also establishing a credit at Imagine Art Supplies in Pacific Grove. So if you need art supplies, you call ahead and she'll just knock on the door and you can get in there and get some art supplies, you know, pencils, erasers, stuff like that. Her name is Jermaine Hatcher. That's the proprietor of the store. She's awesome. She's also an artist, and she will hook you up. All right. So once we have our horizon line and our vanishing points, the first line that we're going to make is a vertical line that's going to establish the corner of your block. We're creating a corner of a block. Okay, so I'm gonna put mine not quite at center. I'm gonna go off a little bit. I'm gonna draw a vertical line, just double checking this straight. Yeah, it's pretty straight. So I'm gonna draw a vertical line here. Okay, so right now it kind of looks like there's a big T on my page. So draw this T. All right, next thing that we're gonna do after we have our horizon line and our vertical line that's crossing that vertical line, what we're gonna do is try and establish how tall our first building is going to be, okay? So I'm gonna figure out, like, maybe this is how tall my building is gonna be here, my first corner building, and then the bottom of my building is gonna be like right there. So I'm establishing the height of the first corner of my building, okay? So I'm just gonna figure out how tall that's gonna be, okay? Get off your phone, please. Wait, that's not your phone. What is that? Looks like a piece of seaweed. Okay, so after we figure out, we put a little note here on this vertical line here. I'm going to go from the left and the right vanishing point. From these 2 points here, I'm going to figure out where that is. So I'm going to first start with the left. I'm going to line up my vanishing point on this side to the mark I made here on that vertical line, and just draw a line down lightly, okay? And I'm going to go over to the right hand side, do the same thing, but without it hitting my fingernail, so it makes a little weird thing. So I'm going to lightly draw a guideline from that vanishing point there, okay? So these 2 lines are bisecting that point I made on that first vertical line, okay? So this is establishing the bottom right and the bottom left hand side of my first building. So draw those two lines. Okay, so the next line I'm going to make is again coming from the left-hand vanishing point to the spot I marked on that vertical line. And if you can hear kids talking right now, it's because I have littles zooming right now in elementary school. So I'm going to draw a guideline here from the left on the top above the horizon line. And then I want to go over here to the right and do the same thing from the right-hand vanishing point and have these two bisect that mark I made on that vertical line. So now it looks like I have a fish or a kite on its side. So this is the guideline for the top and then the bottom of my first building, okay? So you should have some kind of shape that looks like this, like a fish shape, if I could put a tail over here or something like that. Okay, the next thing, guys, critical. We have two vertical lines that we're gonna use to cut off our guidelines and establish our first building on the block, all right? I'm gonna take my vertical line, my next vertical line, and figure out from here, how wide do I wanna make my building on the left-hand side? Well, I think I'm going to put it like right here. All right, so this is gonna be the left-hand facing side of my building. This is still the corner line of my building, right? I'm gonna go over to the right-hand side, figure out, I'll make it a little bit wider over on this side. Make sure that I'm straight up and vertical, all right? Straight up and vertical. And draw. So now I have my two vertical lines here defining my building. I know it's a little hard to see it right now, but let me just quickly erase horizon line, guideline on that side, a little bit here, because I still want to use some of these lines. Okay, so now I have, you might be able to see it. What do you think? I will quickly darken these lines so you can see them a little bit better. Bye, Nico. That's Nico. He's going up to his dad's classroom. So I'm just going to darken these lines here so you can see them a little bit clearer. Oh yeah. So I haven't figured out what I'm going to make my building, but can you guys see this right now? Make sense? So right now it's just a box, right? A dramatic looking box, like, oh. So the next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna build some buildings on this block next to it, okay? So I wanna create an alleyway between these buildings. So I'm gonna put a vertical line here, and I wanna make this next building next to it a little bit taller. So I built a vertical line there, and what I'm gonna do, using this vertical line, I'm gonna keep the bottom guideline, right? I'm gonna keep that so that they're on the same block, but their height is gonna be a little bit different. So I'm just gonna go over here to this left-hand vanishing point because I'm working on the left side of this middle line. I'm always gonna return back to that left-hand vanishing point, okay? So I'm gonna use this now, this height right here, to reference the next line that I'm gonna make, which is going to be the other side of this building. So right now we have this side, the left-hand side of the building next to the corner building, okay? So I have this side already established, right? Just like this one. But in order to get this side, the right-hand side of the building, I'm gonna have to go over from this point and this point to the right-hand vanishing point. Does that make sense, guys? Skylar, does that make sense while you're having your avocado toast? Right on. Okay, so I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna match up with my right-hand vanishing point to this bottom corner, and then just draw a line. And just to give you an idea of what that looks like, I'm gonna lightly draw it here so you can see where I'm pulling that information from, right? Same thing over here. Line up with the vanishing point on the right, ooh, to the top corner, ooh. Draw a line straight down, well, not straight down, but across, and I'll do a light line so you can see where that's coming from, okay? Ta-da! Walter, make sure you're washing your hands, dude. When you lick your fingers, you must wash your hands. Dig? Thank you. Yes, you will. Walter, don't be one of those boys who never washes his hands, man. That's disgusting. I mean, I know you're only 8, but set some precedents, dude. Set some good habits in mind. There you go. It's never too early for a young man to learn good manners and good hygiene. Yes, I'm talking to you, Derek. I'm just kidding. Anyways, so we have a building on the left, our corner building. We'll do one more over here. Maybe we'll do one that's a little bit lower, a little bit shorter. Right there. Again, going over to that left-hand vanishing point. And drawing a line straight down, just like that. I'm gonna darken that line so you guys can see it a little bit better. And then, again, match up those top and bottom corners to that right vanishing point. And I'll draw a line just so you can see it. Same thing over here. Line up that vanishing point to the bottom corner now. Okay. All right, so we now have kind of this side of the street, the left-hand side of the street. We're gonna go over to the right hand real quick. We'll draw a building this height, a little bit lower, maybe a little bit narrower, using already a pre-existing guideline coming from our right-hand vanishing point. Cool, right? So now we have the right-hand facing side of this building on the right-hand side. And we have to do the same thing we did over here on these buildings in the opposite. So this corner and this corner are going to line up with the left-hand vanishing point here, okay? This is cool, this is cool. So I'll just match it up. And then the areas that we're gonna see, I'm going to put more pressure on that pencil. And the areas that we're not, I'm just gonna do a light line so you can see where it's coming from. All right, it's getting a little confusing now. I hope you guys are still with me. Okay, and then the top corner to that vanishing point, we're only gonna see a little bit because this building's blocking it, but I'll draw a light line down that way so you guys can see that. Sophia, am I going too fast? I love it. Thank you. All right. Now we have kind of a good mix of building sizes and heights so far in our neighborhood. So I'm gonna build maybe a taller building right here. I'm gonna, again, one vertical line here to determine my first initial height. And next to this smaller building, lower building, I'm gonna go to that vanishing point, go up to where I want it to be, the height that I want it to be. So then I have this line, and then I'm gonna determine like how big is this. I'm gonna make it a pretty big building. I'll pull a line from here and finish off that right face of this building by adding more pressure to my pencil, darkening my line. Now I have the right hand facing side. I'm going to go to the left hand vanishing point at the top corner of my new building, and for the areas that I can see, I will add pressure, so I'll get a dark line and then a light line just to show where I'm coming from, right? Same thing over here, bottom right hand corner to the left vanishing point. I'm going to darken the areas that I can see. Ooh, squirrely. Darken that, and then just draw a light line just so you guys can see where I'm coming from. Okay. Neat, right? It's a neighborhood. I mean, if you can imagine it. I mean, right now it's just a bunch of boxes, but you have this sense of depth of field, of these things coming forward and these receding into the background towards the horizon line. Isn't that neat? I love this stuff. Some of you may have learned how to do this, you know, maybe in middle school, or you have an artist that is a family member who showed you how to do this. But this is fun stuff. So what we're gonna do now, we're gonna use this same middle line here, and I'm gonna make a sidewalk. Maybe not quite. Yeah, I'll make a wide sidewalk. So this is going to be the bisecting point that's going to come from the right-hand side and the left-hand side vanishing points to create a sidewalk. So our imaginary people who populate this neighborhood have a place to walk safely without getting hit by traffic. Right? So that's our sidewalk. And like we did in our 1-point perspective drawings, we're also going to do a line that is going to help with creating depth of the sidewalk by creating a curb. So we'll come again to that left-hand vanishing point, draw a parallel, not quite parallel line, but from that vertical line, that same vertical line, we're going to pull down information as a point of bisection for the line we're creating for our curb on our sidewalk, right? Now, our horizontal lines are now dictated, because we have 2 vanishing points, our horizontal lines are dictated by whatever side they fall on from that middle, that first vertical line that we make. So if I want to make horizontal lines like for the windows or even for the sidewalk, I'm dictated in a lot of senses. I'm bound by these vanishing points to reflect them, okay? My verticals are still straight up and down, but my horizontal lines are now dependent upon these vanishing points. Now, here's a really cool thing. To make the seams of concrete for the sidewalks, remember how we could just draw straight across from left to right lines to create those seams. Now, those seam lines, it's counterintuitive, right? You think they would come from the right if they're on the right side. No. If I'm working on making seams on this sidewalk, they have to come from this left vanishing point. So, as you can see, I'm going to just illustrate that real quickly. Go over to that left vanishing point and draw my first seam. See there? And then I'm going to go straight down. You guys see that? Ooh, oodalali. So this is coming, and I'm going to leave this one line here so you guys can see it. So you can see it, how I do it. Just like that. Does that make sense? If I'm working on the seams for the right-hand side of the sidewalk, I have to come from the left vanishing point. Okay, so I'm just gonna do this right now. And again, I'm not measuring, I'm just kind of eyeballing it. If you really want to, you can measure it too, but I'm just eyeballing it. Meaning that I'm just, looking at proportions and just figuring out how and where these lines need to go. So I'm more of I look at the proportions and figure it out that way. So okay, that's how we get our seams for the sidewalk, and I'm gonna do it from the right too as well. I'll show you where I'm coming from. This will be a center seam. Boom. Just like so. You guys see that? Isn't that neat? So cool, so cool. I can't believe next week is Thanksgiving. It's crazy. I'm making meatloaf, which is a vegetarian meatloaf for Thanksgiving dinner. I know it sounds really kind of like, that's blasphemy, that's not Thanksgiving-y. It's really not, but as a vegetarian who doesn't want to have a tofurkey, I don't have many options, y'all. Sage, are you thinking about going vegetarian? I know you are, come on. You don't eat cows, do you? Woo woo! Big ups, girl. If you need recipes, I'll hook you up. I will hook you up. You are? Right on, Giselle. Way to be. I just can't eat the terror, man. If you ever, I don't know, you ever been to a slaughterhouse? I've been to a slaughterhouse. It's the scariest. It's like worse than any horror movie I've ever seen, because you can hear the cows screaming. There you go. There you go. The fibers. Oh. Yeah. So anyways, I digress. Sorry guys. I'm not judging those of you who eat meat. I'm just saying, like, for me, I can't do it anymore. I don't even have leather jackets or anything like that. So. Anyways, so now we have a sidewalk, and you guys can continue working on the seams if you'd like. What I want to show you guys is how to dress your buildings using the methodology of using these vanishing points. Okay, now listen. It's the same thing that we did for 1-point perspective. If we're working on this side of this vertical line, right? If we're working on this side, our lines for the tops and stuff of our windows and doors and stuff are gonna come from the right-hand vanishing point. If we're working on this side of the vertical line, that first vertical line, our lines are coming from this vanishing point on the left-hand side. So let me show you, I'm gonna show you how to make a quick little story here on the corner. I'm going to use some of the guidelines that we've already established, and I'm gonna use, maybe I'll go up this high. Yeah, that's proportional. I'm gonna create a door right here by making 2 vertical lines and darkening this one. So now I have a door for my customers to come into my store, okay? I got a door. I'm gonna use that same guideline that's coming all the way here from the right, because I'm still working on the right-hand side of that vertical line, and I'm gonna make a window. And all that entails is using 2 vertical lines here and using the existing guidelines that I've left from the sidewalk seams, and actually, oh yeah, and then the building seams coming from the other side, or the building walls. So now I have a door and a window. I've darkened these lines just so you guys can see. I'll use these lines up here, and I'm gonna kind of line up with this vertical of the window so it's kind of aligned, and same here with the door, so that I can make a sign for whatever my store is. Maybe it's a donut place or a sushi bar or a syrup shop. I don't know. But as you can see, I'm using, if I'm working on this side of the vertical line, all of my tops and bottoms of all the elements that I want to put onto my buildings here are going to come from that right hand vanishing point. Now over here, I'll go over here and I'll make, let's see, a door. Let's say a door over here, because you always, you know, in code, like building code, you have to have multiple entrances and exits just for fire safety. You know, just makes sense. And then I'll do another large, yeah, maybe I'll make a smaller window. Ooh, that's a crooked line, Russell. What's going on here? Okay. I'll make another large window right there. It's a little off kilter, but I just want to use those existing lines that I have. Okay. All right, and we will line that up over here so that our signage is the same on this side too as well. Did I line that up? Kind of. Not really. Okay. So now we have kind of a cool shop, right? We're going to, okay, here's the cool thing about this. Remember how we did recessed areas, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna recess this door. I'm gonna draw a vertical line down to show the kind of like the thickness of how far my recess is gonna be, like going in. But I'm gonna come over to the left-hand vanishing point, right? And that's where my recess is gonna go, okay? On that angle. The next thing though that's gonna happen is I'm gonna come over to the right-hand vanishing point to finish it off. You know, it's really not as complex as it looks. It's pretty cool. I'm gonna do the same thing to my window, right? Go straight down, but then I'm gonna cut it off, going to the left and creating that little corner. Go to the right and put it all together. Oops, a little high, a little high. Darken. All right. Switch pencils because my pencils are getting a little dull. Again, straight lines there, straight line there. Now I need to finish it off. I go all the way over here to my right hand vanishing point. Cut that off. Go over here to the door. Cut that off. And then come over here to the left and finish it off. And this is a little bit more complex than the first one we did with 1-point perspective, but not that bad. Okay. Now again, this is not going to be included in progress reports for this week. None of the perspective drawings are. This won't go into effect until after progress reports. So it'll go into your second quarter final grade. All right, now, let's figure out what this place is gonna be at. Yeah, let's make it a, I don't know. I'm gonna do a middle line here on both sides. We got kind of a middle line here for both of our signage here. Yeah. Let's figure this out. Oh yeah. And we'll make this kind of a glass door, so we'll do one of those like weird like doors that has like the glass. The glass pusher thing. It's got a little is embedded in there. Okay, and then we'll just draw straight across. Yeah, pushes open. All right, now finish that. Okay, now let's make this a donut shop. Yeah, what do y'all think? Donuts or cronuts? Do you know what a cronut is? A cronut is the combination of a croissant and donut. They're amazing. They've been made famous by a particular pastry place in New York City. Cronuts. They're all the rage when I was in my 20s or something like that. All right, don't have much time. I don't want to keep you much longer. So again, the larger letters, smaller letters, larger letters. So we'll just do bubble letter donuts. How about that? Am I gonna have room? Oh my gosh, I don't know. And then your letters are also going to, you don't want to draw them, if I drew them like straight up and down, uh-oh. I can already tell I don't have enough room. Okay, let me go over here. I'll make it smaller. Donuts. Donuts. Maybe I really want a donut. Donuts. Donuts. Okay. Fix this one. Sometimes I have issues with text size. Sometimes I don't anticipate how big they will be. So I'm just quickly sketching this out. I might go back in later and clean it up. I'm having the angles of my letters go with and contained within the spots I've made. This grid that I've created. Donuts. Okay, I need to fix that S. Oh my goodness, that's ugly. Anyways, I digress. So, right now, I'll put a big donut right here. Big cakey donut with sprinkles. Right. Maybe it's hanging. Just a giant plastic donut. Okay. All right. Now, continue working on your neighborhood. We're gonna come back to this in next class. So even though we covered a lot of ground, this is gonna be posted onto my YouTube channel for you guys to see. Thank you very much for hanging with me today and learning about 2-point perspective, and I'll see you next class. Get out of here.